What is up, folks at home? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to dive into how to locate bass in frigid, cold, freezing water. So we're going to talk about locating fish, then we're going to talk about what baits we use to catch those fish in freezing wintertime conditions. Let's dive in. It's going to be an exciting one today. Let's go. Alright guys, whenever I go to a new body of water and I'm fishing it in the cold, or even a body of water I know, there are two things that I am looking for. One, green weeds, and two, where the warmest water available is. So here you can see us running up the St. Joe River. We went there to check it out the other day. It's supposed to be a decent winter fishery. We didn't do that great, but the lessons that we learned there still hold true. The first thing that I want to look for in any fishery where I'm finding bass are green weeds. Now, the best way to do that is get up on plane, run about 20 miles an hour, and check your electronics. Run over different depth zones, areas, anywhere you can, and look for existing weed growth on the bottom, because fish are going to glue to existing weed growth and structure on the bottom this time of year. The second thing that you want to look for on the bottom are hard pieces of structure, stumps, logs, boats, bricks, whatever you can find. And when I find those pieces of structure, I'm going to pick up a single swim bait. This time of year, the single swim bait is one of the best things that you can do because you can count it down to the correct level that the cover is at, swim that bait through there. It will get bit in the coldest of cold water. Here we have the Upgrade Jig Head by Ebb N Flow with a diesel minnow on it. It's one of the swim baits that I keep in my arsenal all year long, simply because it's got an excellent head wobble and shake. It performs well at slow speeds, and that plastic is never coming off of there. What I want to do is I want to swim that single swim bait over the cover any way, shape, or form that I can. I picked the swim bait because it can cover all different water columns. Jerk baits, jigs, things like that, they're covering a single piece of the water column. This swim bait, you can cover a total piece of the water column. What you're going to try to do is elicit reaction bites from fish as much as you can when you are searching. So find that deeper structure, find that weed beds or those stumps or logs, use your electronics to find those, and then use the swim bait to probe those pieces. The second place that I'm going to look in the wintertime is channels. And channels, because the water is warm. So here we have some underwater footage in a channel off the St. Joe. You can see there's all kinds of mixed species in here. We got sunfish, we got bass, we got crappie, we got all kinds of fish sitting in these back channels because the water is 7 to 8 degrees warmer on average. Now, when I move into these channels, I love to fish a chatterbait. I think the coldest water that I've ever caught a fish out of the channel with is a chatterbait in 36-degree water. What I'm looking for is this chatterbait to run into these stalks, these plants, this vegetation that is still growing, and elicit a reaction strike from these bass. The more water that you can cover in a channel, the better chance you have of finding fish. Now, the chatterbait is not the end-all, be-all. It's simply a tool that I use to start searching. You can see those schools of small bait fish in these channels are the reason why the fish are here. That warm water is pulling them in there. That bait pulls in the predator fish. The predator fish need to feed. The chatterbait is a great bait to throw through weeds and grass. Even in cold water, it will perform. Now, as you're covering water in channels, you're often going to find fish stacked up on man-made cover and structure inside of these channels. Channels accumulate rock, they accumulate wood, they accumulate cinder blocks, they accumulate all kinds of hard cover that are great examples of what fish are going to sit on. When do you find these areas? Mark them, remember where they're at, circle back through, and come back later. Those spots will be loaded up with fish that you spooked off on your first trip through. Then you can pick those areas apart and catch those. One of my favorite baits for picking these areas apart, you guessed it, the Megabass Dark Sleeper. It's perfect for mixed cover. It's perfect for fish that are really finicky, and as you can see, there's a ton of different species of fish inside of these channels in that warmer water. This looks like a bait that those fish would eat. Most oftentimes you can pick a dark sleeper through this cover very, very slowly. You can swim it around, you can make multiple casts. It's a very versatile bait and it looks extremely realistic. Plus, when the water is super cold, the crawfish are hibernating, so they're not really keyed in on that crawfish pattern. If the water's in the 40s or the 30s, the dark sleeper is going to shine here. Another great cold water option is the Hercules by ZMan. This is a pre-built, pre-hooked swim bait. It's got a Mustad Ultra Point in there, but the big thing I like about this swim bait is it's got a nice tight shimmy, and it's got that metal piece hanging out of the bottom. You could rig it with a treble hook if you want to, but what I'm going to use that metal piece is to create a clicking noise on any cover that I run into. Any of those rocks and areas like that, this swim bait is going to click that metal off of the bottom of it and really draw attention to itself. Other than that, it has a nice head shimmy, has a nice roll. It's going to catch a lot of different fish, and it's weighted perfectly. It's that perfect size if you want it in that 3 and 4 inch size swim bait. It reminds me kind of the Storm Wild Eye swimming shiners that they used to have that were the bait that I would fish as bottom contact swim baits before the dark sleeper was the thing. Really excited about the uses of this swim bait in that cold, clear water when you're looking for those bites that are hard to come by. When it comes down to it, guys, fishing in that cold water period is really about finding those last green weeds, finding that existing cover or structure if you have it in your lake, and really slowing down and picking those areas apart. Single swim baits are great this time of year. Small jigs, hair jigs can also work. The chatterbait will catch them in brutal cold conditions, but really more than ever now, it's about running a bunch of different water, finding a bunch of different things, and seeing if you can get bit. Once you get bit, milk that area for everything that it's worth. Find hot water discharges, warm water areas, really that will help you settle in and catch fish in this cold water period. If you guys like what's happening on the channel right now, give us a like, subscribe, go to our links on Omnia, buy baits from there, help us out, help Dave out at Ebb N Flow Outdoors. He's a great guy running a great product. Help him move some of that product for his business this year. Thanks for hanging out with us today, guys. Give us a like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.